Ever wondered why Brits would rather queue up than, say, enjoy a spot of sun? Well, let's dive into the peculiar British cultural norm of forming orderly lines, or as they call it, queuing, for absolutely everything. Yes, from boarding a double-decker bus, to buying a cucumber sandwich, to waiting for the loo at a bustling pub, Brits have turned queuing into something of an art form. You see, queuing is considered an essential aspect of British politeness and fairness. It's an unwritten code of conduct that everyone is expected to follow. Some might even say it's as British as fish and chips or complaining about the weather. It's all about waiting your turn, respecting the personal space of others, and demonstrating what Brits like to call good form. The rules of queuing are simple yet sacrosanct. You join the queue at the end, maintain a respectful distance from the person in front, and most importantly, no cutting in line. The only exception to this rule is when you're invited to go ahead, and even then it's customary to offer a polite thank you. What's truly fascinating and somewhat amusing is the excessive patience exhibited by Brits in queues. Whether it's a 2-minute wait at the local chip shop or a 20-minute delay at the post office, they stand patiently, often making small talk about the weather or last night's telly. And if someone dares to break the queue, oh dear, they're met with stern looks, tutting, and the most British of insults, queue jumper. So here's a top tip for anyone planning to visit Britain. If you want to blend in, learn to love the queue. Embrace the calm, the patience, the politeness. And remember, no matter how tempting it may be to skip ahead, don't, because nothing irks a Brit more than a queue jumper. So, next time you're in Britain, remember, no cutting in line unless you fancy some very stern looks and possibly a tut or two. Does the sight of a cloudy sky fill your heart with joy? No? Well, you're clearly not British then. In the land of bangers and mash, where the sun is as elusive as a well-timed joke from a Buckingham Palace guard, there is a peculiar fascination with the weather. Yes, you heard it right, the weather. Not football, not the royal family, not even the latest scandal in the House of Lords, but the weather. It's a national pastime, an obsession, a fixation that's as quintessentially British as a cup of Earl Grey or a plate of fish and chips. Now you might be wondering, why? Why the fascination with something as mundane as the weather? Well, it's simple, really. You see, the British weather is a lot like a soap opera. It's unpredictable, dramatic, and it's always there, even when you're not in the mood for it. And let's not overlook the irony of it all. Brits have perfected the art of complaining about their constant companion, the rain. It's too wet, too dreary, too British. And yet, when it's absent, there's a sense of longing, a desire for the familiar pitter-patter of raindrops on the window pane. And then there's the inexplicable love for overcast weather. Yes, you heard that right too. For many Brits, a cloudy sky is a thing of beauty, a comforting blanket that wraps the country in a familiar grey hue. It's like that old, worn-out jumper you can't bear to throw away. It might not be pretty, but it's comforting, it's familiar, and most importantly, it's yours. A sunny day in Britain is a rarity, a treat to be savoured, like a perfectly brewed cuppa or a well-executed cricket shot. It's celebrated with barbecues, picnics, and an alarming amount of sunburns. Because, let's face it, Brits aren't exactly known for their tanning abilities. In conclusion, if you're planning to visit Britain, don't forget your umbrella. You'll fit right in. Did you know that "I'm slightly disappointed" in British could translate to "I am absolutely livid" in any other language? Yes, welcome to the fascinating world of British understatement, a unique linguistic feature that's as British as the Queen's corgis. In Britain, you'll find that a mild "it's a bit chilly" could mean it's freezing, and "it's not too bad" could translate to "it's brilliant." This understated way of speaking is deeply ingrained in the British psyche and has been a part of their communication style since time immemorial. It's their way of maintaining that famous stiff upper lip, of conveying emotions without being too dramatic or causing a fuss. Now, moving on to another quintessentially British thing, their love for tea. The British relationship with tea is akin to a long, enduring romance. It's not just a beverage, it's a panacea for all of life's problems. Whether it's the biting cold, a stressful day at work, or even the impending doom of a zombie apocalypse, the British firmly believe that there's nothing a good cup of tea can't fix. Tea in Britain is not just a drink, It's a ritual, a tradition, a social event, and sometimes even a meal. It's a symbol of hospitality, comfort, and warmth. When a British person offers you a cup of tea, it's an unspoken gesture of friendship, a subtle indication that you're welcome in their space. So, whether it's their art of understatement or their love for tea, these are some of the things that make the British, well, British. They add to the charm and uniqueness of this nation, making it a fascinating place to explore, understand, and appreciate. So when in Britain, if someone says they're not too bad, they're actually great. And if they offer you a cup of tea, you're practically family now. So what have we learned about the Brits today? Well, if there's a queue, they're in it, reveling in the joy of orderly waiting. They have a peculiar fondness for grey skies, basking in the glory of overcast weather. Their love for understatement, absolutely unrivaled, and nothing less than a full-blown tea addiction will do. In other words, if you can queue patiently under the rain, express your rage through subtle understatements and survive solely on tea, you might just pass for a Brit. Cheerio!